What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good holiday weekend. Sheets will be here for live, but he's not going to be here for this morning. He'll probably update his projections a little bit later. I know he had some things going on this morning, but that's just a quick thing. I wanted to remind everybody this will probably be the last week of the free trial, so I would encourage anybody check it out who hasn't had a chance to check him out yet. Yeah, with that said, let's just get into it. We got a nice, just a small little 5-gamer to get the week started. Not going to go crazy, myself playing on this slate, but I'm gonna throw a few lineups in. Had a really good run at the golf. I thought I was going to have a good shot at winning the $5. Just didn't quite go my way at the end of Sunday. And a big shout out though to Sheets for winning the showdown. I forgot to start off like that. He won the 555 showdown for $50K. So congrats to Sheets. The guy's unbelievable at these showdowns. Has been doing great all season. He can't seem to win during the regular full weekend slates, but he's crushing the showdowns. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. Cleveland and Detroit. So I think that you could obviously argue for anybody. She isn't here just for what it's worth, Pope. For what anyway, getting back to it, Cleveland, Detroit. I think you could make a case here for Gavin Williams. I actually am curious. I want to do a little more digging before this evening to see how many. Is there a chance that they let Montero go a little further? He did throw 6 innings in his last game. I think you could make a case for him just because he's 4K and it'll allow you to differentiate your build. So I actually have both these pitchers as definite consideration for me, which is, again, I'm totally open to actually all 4 aspects of this game. Both pitchers. Both hitting, but nothing that's quite a priority for me. If I had to pick, one thing that I probably end up doing, most likely it probably will be Williams in this matchup against Detroit. Now, I'm still open to the Montero idea. Let's just see what we've got. We've got him at 88 pitches. He's 4K. It's definitely gonna. I'm surprised it's as low owned as it is. And you see where his K prop is 3.65. Not great, but he's 4K. So getting that, look at the projected fantasy point difference is 3 between he and Williams. Not even 3, 2.5. Anyway, so I think it's mostly going to be a pitching game for me. Going to have to revisit it a little bit later because I do think Montero's got the ability to go deeper, and I've seen different projections on him pitch wise today. I heard somebody else on another show say he's going to only throw 60 pitches. I think that was just hearsay, and I think it was nonsense. But anyway. I do think so. Cincinnati, Colorado. I like Abbott for what it's worth. I'm always a little higher on Abbott than most people are. Abbott and Williams I have as close, but I'll probably play Abbott because of I think he's got a higher ceiling. Colorado on the road. They are better against lefties for what it's worth, and it's a great hitter's park. But that's where Abbott pitches all the time anyway. I think Abbott's, along with Sale, probably the 2 guys you want to get to if you can. And then I like Cincinnati. I think it's not going to be a surprise. You see that they're going to have some decent ownership, but there's so many stacks. Look, there's not that many games today, and all of the stacks feel somewhat playable. So I think this is like an interesting slate just from that way. Like it's going to be interesting to see how the ownership spreads out a little bit. But I do like Cincinnati. I'm not getting to much of Colorado at the moment because I like Abbott, but I don't mind it. It's a way to get a little bit different on a small slate. They certainly have upside. Abbott can occasionally be streaky, and I think that's worthwhile. But I have Abbott as a priority as of right now. In fact, I'm actually going to go ahead and stick a little core thing next to. I probably have one for him and Sale. All right, moving on to Minnesota and Chicago. I'll get to the questions when I'm done for what it's worth. Let's just see real quick. We don't know. I've got Paddock as probable, but I don't have it as a sure thing yet. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening here with Paddock. I think that if Paddock's a go, I guess we can assume he is, but he's been pitching less anyway. I'm curious to see what we have him for pitches right now. 85 is a little higher than I would have thought. But let's get confirmation that he is starting. I think he's most likely to start tonight, but I'm not 100% on that one. Again, I think that the Minnesota side of things makes a lot of sense. I think you're going to have some ownership there. I don't think you need to stack on this slate, as I always say on these tiny slates. And I would go out of my way to get guys like Castro, Buxton. I know they're going to be owned, but Castro, Buxton being my 2 favorite bats here. Again, I do like Minnesota. I like the matchup against Flexen. And I am probably going to consider Paddock, but I need to find out for sure whether or not he's pitching and where we think he'll be at pitch wise. But yeah, definitely leaning towards the Minnesota side myself. I think the White Sox end up as one of the teams that gets lower owned. They're a spot where I certainly could look for at least some power upside, if nothing else. Gavin Sheets, Luis Roberts a little bit expensive, but I think that they're totally reasonable here. So I don't mind the idea of getting to a little bit of the White Sox, but more so I'm going to be on the on the Minnesota side of this. I don't care whether Buxton's batting 7th. These would be my priority plays from this one right off the bat. So, all right, moving over to Texas, Los Angeles, talking it through. John Gray and Davis Daniel, which you're going to have like an opener, is supposedly what's going to happen. So we'll see if that even happens. As of right now, I think Texas it's a pretty good spot. I mean, it's a little warmer than usual. It's up to 78 degrees in LA tonight. I think that Texas is a good spot for Texas. Unfortunately, I think that's what everyone else will agree on as well. But you can immediately assume that I'm going to put my priority plays. Corey Seager is definitely going to be one of them. John Gray, I definitely don't mind. I'm just on the outside looking in compared to my priorities, but certainly don't mind going to John Gray here. And at the same time, wouldn't mind if you wanted to get a little different and play some Angels, because I think they end up the lower owned side of things. I just don't think it quite makes the priority list for me where I'm at, but they are certainly cheap, and there is some upside as we've seen so far this year. They've seen Gray a number of times as well, so I'm curious to see how that plays out. Okay, so let's see. All right, let's talk about Sale. And Sale, I think, is pretty clearly the number one on the slate. Now, Arizona is not like they're bad against lefties, and Sale can occasionally have a bad game. But I do like Sale. I would try to go out of my way to get Sale. He is my other core pitcher along with Abbott. And at the same time, I like Atlanta. I believe the roof is going to be closed, but I'll double check that before we go live later. I don't mind some of Atlanta, and I don't mind some of this Diaz. I think that you can make an argument that Diaz in his first start, I believe. Look, we've got him at 87 pitches. He's got a K prop right around 5. He's 6K with a reasonable projection. I think that you could certainly do worse, and I think that's sort of what I feel like overall in this slate. I like Atlanta. I like Cincy. I like Minnesota, and I'm probably going to end up mixing and just playing my favorite players. I think it's just the easiest thing to do, and I think it makes plenty of sense. So I'm seeing a lot of team ownership, and I think you're going to have a hard time getting into the single digits today unless you really want to take some huge stands. But I'm sort of okay with that. It's a 5-gamer. We want to try to get different if we can, but one of my ways of getting different is going to be by not stacking probably today. Just there's enough spots that are good, but I just think it's a way to get different that I like. All right, Pope says on this slate, what type of stack for FanDuel? I have a feeling this will be a weird scoring slate. Yeah, I think so too. On FanDuel, I almost always play 4s in general. But I don't care about playing 4-1-1-1-1 on a slate like this. I think it's okay on FanDuel to play like a 3-2-2-1 even today if you want to. If there are bats you like, and that's my answer to that question. How do I set up the core? I don't understand that question. You mean how do I pick my core? I can pick my core because it's my site. I don't know what you mean. How do you set up the core? I've set up the core as being the core plays of who you want to play. They're going to be leaning towards a little more cashy plays than they are for tournaments, but that's just because they're the guys who I will have the most exposure to, and probably because they're the best plays. So that's basically, I guess, the answer to that question. Anyway, good luck to everybody today. Hope you guys have a great one. I know it's kind of a small slate. We'll be with you live around 6. It's probably going to be a very quick show. We'll run through some builds then. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of news or anything. It's a 5-gamer. And let's get this week started off in the right direction. I got to win, get something going other than golf for me. It's been a couple weeks ago. I had a really, really good baseball week, but not been a great season, not been a terrible season, just been sort of meh. And let's catch up a little bit. Let's get things going. So please give us a like and subscribe and all that stuff. I will see you all in Discord. I'm going to update my core plays.